Good morning. Welcome to In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon. Before we get to what's going on here on the table, just going to show you what everything is doing. The spinach and asparagus is doing lovely. My mint varieties are doing lovely. My irises and begonias are coming along nicely. Here I have some bok choy and some mint that I was gifted on yesterday from Forever Vista Farms in Enfield, North Carolina. So the thing about mint is you don't want to plant it in the ground because it is invasive. It will take over everything. So she had some mint that was coming up in one of her raised beds. So she just pulled it up by the roots, and I'm going to transplant it this morning. That's why the leaves look a little wilted. It's just been out of soil for 24 hours. But don't plant mint in the ground. Plant it in a pot or somewhere. If you're going to put it in a raised bed, let it be strictly for the herbs that will take over and herbs that kind of like the same conditions. Some of our Mediterranean herbs like thyme and oregano, they like dry, and rosemary, rosemary. They like dry conditions because they're from the Mediterranean. But things like basil requires a little bit more water, so you don't want to plant those together in the same pot. They can be near each other, but just not together because they have a different watering schedule. My lettuce is doing nicely. Snow peas coming on along beautifully. Let's see. The onions that I'm letting go to seed are doing wonderful. I'm getting ready to put a tomato in that bin in just a couple of weeks. Tomatoes are going to be in that bin. I don't know what I'm going to put in that one yet. I haven't decided. Probably, maybe potatoes. Okay, potatoes are going in that one. I'm going to just have to put a whole bunch of holes in it. I've already planted my ginger. Ginger takes a long time to develop. I'm going to put that bok choy in the bin with this because the taller collard greens will help give it some shade because it's kind of late in the spring here to be planting bok choy, but we're going to give it a try. My eggplant that I overwinter is doing beautifully. I am pardoning it off now, because it's been in the house all winter long, so you don't want to put it out in the sun right away because it'll be too stressful for it. So I bring it out for a little while every day just to give it a chance to get ready for the outdoor environments, the wind, the rain, the sun, the heat. But I'll only leave it outside in the shade for a couple of hours. Once the sun starts to beam on it directly, I'll leave it for 15 to 30 minutes, and then I'm going to take it back in the house because this was a great producer last year. I don't want to lose it at this point in the season. All of these fall vegetables, my kale, my collard greens, good morning. All of that is blooming now, and it's going to go to seed so that I can harvest the seeds from that. So I wanted to talk to you briefly this morning about use your resources. And initially, because I didn't start my tomatoes and peppers, I knew I was going to buy those things. But being a little bit lazy, I said, I'll buy my basil and my herbs, all of my herbs. I was going to buy all of my herbs too. But then last week, I was thinking about that. I was like, Kim, you've got 3 bins of seeds in there. It doesn't take long for herbs to germinate. You can start your own herbs instead of going to a big box store and paying $5 a pop for them. You can get a pack of seeds for $2 and have many plants, enough plants to give away. So I was like, use your resources. People have given you these seeds. You've purchased seeds. You've got plenty of seeds. Use your resources wisely. So I did just that. So some of you have been seeing my posts on the things that I had already planted, starting from seeds. This is my corn. It's doing nicely. Still have one here that nothing has come up in. It still may germinate. It may not. But I want to show you this. So I started my zucchini in the house. And although it was in a front of a window, it was stretching to get enough sun. So it's become a little leggy. Don't throw this plant out, because all of those little hairs along, I don't know if you can see them, but the little hairs along the stem, those are the beginning of roots. So simply repot it and bury it deep, which is what I've done to this one. It is the same height as this one, but see how deep I have now buried this one, and it's going to form roots. So when I put this one in the ground, it's going to have a much more developed root system than one of this nature. So don't throw this out. If it's a zucchini or a tomato or something that's become leggy, don't throw it out. Repot it and bury it deep, and then give it a chance to develop more roots. So I'm going to repot all of these. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to see what a plant looks like when a seedling looks like when it's become leggy. You don't have to throw this plant away. All you have to do is repot it and bury it deep so that those roots develop. But I repotted my orange stripy tomato. Still waiting on some of my cucumbers to come up. This one is a yellow pear tomato. It's actually for Keisha Robinson. You see, it actually has her name on it, so that I don't accidentally give it away or plant it myself. But if you have acid reflux, and I just learned this a few weeks ago, but if you have acid reflux and you love tomatoes, but they mess with your acid reflux so bad that you cannot eat them, eat yellow or orange tomatoes. They have a lot less acid in them. And Lynette Hewitt from Forever Vista Farms told me that about a month ago. So this year, Keisha and I are trying. That's my yellow pear. This one I'm giving away to Keisha, because she's the one who turned me on to Four Seasons Nursery in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And the day that I went to Four Seasons Nursery, Lynette was there from Forever Vista Farms. So those connections, you just never know who you're going to meet. So I'm going to talk to you a minute just about using your resources, whatever those may be. Because here, these are seedling cups that I purchased a pack of from the Dollar Tree a couple of years ago. But I had so many of them, I just kept them because I know I do seeds most every year. But these are actually toilet paper holders. It's the holder for a roll of toilet tissue. You just put 4 cuts in it and tape the bottom, and now you have a cup for your seedlings. You already paid for the toilet tissue, and typically we just throw the holder away. But when it gets close to spring, I just throw mine in my gardening box so that I have things to start my seedlings with. Use your resources. That's something that you don't have to buy, because that's one of the things that people complain about when gardening for the first time, that it gets so expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive if you use your resources. You can get a pack of seeds for as little as 25 cents. Some of them cost as much as $8 or $9, depending where you get them from and if they're organic. But use your resources. You can go in a big box store and buy a single plant that's $5. Or you can buy a pack of seeds that's $2 or $3 and have all the plants that you need, and use your toilet paper holder to start your seeds. And now you've got something that you paid for the toilet tissue once, but you're reusing it, and you'll just bury this whole thing because it will return to dirt. It'll compost. Couldn't think for a moment. So in gardening, you want to use your resources. Use what you already have, so that you're not. So if you went into a big box store and bought 4 basil plants, that's going to be $20, unless they're having some sale or something. But let's just assume it's not on sale. You buy 4 plants, that's $20. But what I have here is probably 10 or 12 plants I already had the toilet tissue holder. I already had the seed starter mix. I already had the tray. And it's a pack of seeds that costs 25 cents. So now I've got 10 plants that cost me 25 cents versus paying $20 for 4 plants. Do you see that? But that's not just true with gardening. We have to use our resources. I was talking with a friend of mine. I'm not going to put the camera on myself because I haven't gotten ready for church yet. And, you know, I look like whodunit this morning. But when it comes to life, there are resources available to us, but it's up to us to take advantage of them. So when we are not feeling well emotionally and mentally, there are resources available to us. If you work full-time, more than likely your job has an employee assistance program where you can get a certain number of therapy sessions for free. I know my job offers it, but it's as simple as giving them a phone call and making an appointment. Nobody has to know about it. It's between you and the therapist. But it allows you to get in a place where you feel well emotionally. If you're having financial difficulties, issues with paying your rent, there are resources available to you. You have to look for them. More than likely, my cousin and I used to say this about when we were dating when we were younger. That man that you're dreaming about, that woman that you're dreaming about, chances are they are not going to come knock on your front door. You have to use the resources available to you. Go to the places that you are passionate about and see if you can meet someone there. Now, if you like partying and going to bars and going to clubs, that's fine for you to meet somebody there because you have a common interest. But if that's not what you're interested in, don't go try to find a man or a woman that's in the club or the bar because they like to party. You don't. It's not going to work. Go to places, doing things, and enjoying things that you like to do. I like to garden. I like to camp. I used to like to hike. My foot is hurting so bad now I can't do that anymore. But find things that you are passionate about, and then look for clubs, look for groups. There are tons of groups. Meet some of the people that from your Facebook groups for a drink. Now, don't invite them to your house. You don't know them people. I don't care how long you've been talking to them online. The first time you meet somebody, do it in a public setting. Because the person that you see online and talk to online may not be who shows up at your door. Do not invite people that you've been talking to online to your home to meet them for the first time. Matter of fact, meet them out in public a couple of times before you invite them into your space. Because we don't know who we are dealing with. But still yet, there are ways that you can socialize with people you don't know and be safe and have fun. And might meet somebody that you can connect with. But you got to use your resources. Use your resources in gardening. Use your resources with your mental health. Use your resources in every aspect of your life. I know people that offer free classes. And I'm going to go to a class at Forever Vista Farms in May that they have for farmers. I'm not a farmer, but I know I love gardening and I can learn something from them. Get in the room with people that you can learn something from. So now I am part of Team Quest with Love Biome. I try to get on the training, on the calls, as many conferences as I can attend because they know more about this industry than I do. I have to use my resources and be open to learning something from somebody else. Because the thing that I know as a 52-year-old, I don't know as nearly as much as I think I do. Get in the room with people that are passionate about the same thing that you're passionate about and watch the changes that transform in your life. But on the other token, if you are not willing to use the resources that are available to you, then you stay stuck in the same place, doing the same thing, getting the same results that you've always gotten. We got to be open to growth. We got to be open to doing something different, to get something different. Use your resources. Use your resources. I had all of these seeds. I could have went out. I don't even know if they you can buy corn, but aside from the corn, everything else on here, on this table, I could have went and purchased an individual plant for roughly $4 or $5 each. But I knew I was going to buy my tomatoes. I went to a local farm and purchased a 6-pack of tomatoes for $4.50. 6 of them. That would have been over $30. But if you go in a big box store and get it, it's going to be much more. $30, $40 once you add on the tax, once you pick up something you didn't go in there for. But I went to Enfield Farms because I wanted to tour the farm, and I wanted to go live from there yesterday, but it was too cloudy and it just wouldn't work. But I've got 6 tomato plants here, which allowed me to be able to gift one. I've got herbs that I got from her. I got bok choy that I got from her. All of these things from a local company that's pouring money back into our local economy. And it saved me money. And I made a wonderful connection and new friend. I told her I love being up there so much. She was going to start to tell me on the weekend, Kim, I got work to do today. I'm like, I will help you. I'll work too. But guys, this has just been a short impromptu in the garden with Joyful Living, because I didn't get to do one on yesterday because of my impromptu. The weather was bad. So I decided to wait till later in the day, I decided to do my impromptu field trip. But after standing up there for roughly 2 hours, my foot began to hurt so bad, and it has been for a while. So I went to urgent care to make sure I don't have a stress fracture in my foot, but luckily I don't. I'm still have to see an orthopedic, but that's another story. So everything out here is doing wonderful. It doesn't look like much now. We've got a bunch of empty bins and stuff that's overgrown and weeds coming up. And actually, that's not weeds. Look, make sure you research your plants. That's some lettuce that volunteered. Seeds blew in the wind, and now it's coming up in that pot. So it doesn't look like much now. But you wait to the height of summer, and you won't be able to recognize this space from the flowers and the vegetables that'll be growing. So stay tuned in. Keep watching. 1, you'll learn something about gardening, but 2, you might get a tip about something that helps you in your life. Just let that sink in. Keep watching. Get in the room with people who know more than you do. I'm not saying I know more than you do, but there's something that you can learn from other people if we pay attention. You might not be interested in gardening, but I guarantee you I'm going to say something that's going to help you in your life. So this has been Kimberly Dixon with In the Garden with Joyful Living for this special edition on Sunday, just because the weather wasn't cooperating on yesterday. But use your resources. Whatever the problem is, whatever the issue is, use your resources. There are resources that are available to you. And as I always tell you, don't give up. Keep putting one foot in front of the other one. And eventually, you'll be able to look up and just see how far you've come. But we're looking for these big sweeping motions or movements that happen overnight. It doesn't happen that way in most instances. Sometimes it does, but in most instances, it does not happen that way. But keep taking those baby steps. Keep taking those small steps towards the dream that you want, the life that you want. And if you want something different in your life financially and for your health, reach out to me. And let's continue this conversation. I would love to talk to you about how to improve your health and earn some residual income while you're doing it. This is Kimberly Dixon. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.